To the bottom of Antigua. Starting in the orange, another Prime player. His teammate just pulled off his third win, and now we have his Zerg companion. We have
BBoongBBoong Prime.
Marine King's teammate here fighting for his chances. He knows that he's in a good situation if he's able to defeat Hart. Hart won both of his games. This is a Zerg versus Terran. As to the top in the teal, we have now Complexity's player. It is
Complexity Hart.
Very, very aggressive player. He's gotten a lot of flack for it, but what wins, wins, man, and I gotta respect this guy.
This is going to be a really interesting match. I want to see what exactly BBoongBBoong is up to on this map. This is a map that traditionally was a little bit better for Terran because he can control the high ground in the middle of the map. The Zerg player has a bit of a tough time taking a fourth base and defending it, fourth or fifth, because the bases are really spread out, while Terran usually tries to secure the middle of the map as a fourth of the planetary and then follows up with the siege tank on the high ground. But this is going to be a very, very interesting and intense game, as so much is on the line already, even though we are only halfway through the group.
Let's see what Hart has in mind. He's not going for gas. We have an early scout for B4 here. He's coming in, and from here, the question is, how good is Hart's late game actually? I mean, he has shown some good late game games. He's played defensive games. It seems like every time I see Hart do a normal build, his opponent just dies. Like, his opponent goes for a really aggressive build. We never get to see Hart's actual late game form here. And we're going to see a big comparison between Hart's late game and Marine King's late game. And if BBoongBBoong's play is as consistently good as it was against Marine King, I don't know. I mean, Hart is going to have to be really, really good to take this 3-0.
Yeah, you are so right about it. BBoongBBoong showed amazing play games against Marine King. I don't want to say he was... actually, was a little bit lucky that MMA screwed up in the game. He went too aggressive. BBoongBBoong made the right decision. He had the correct read, made the best out of a bad situation, and was able to claim victory. MMA made a few mistakes, but BBoongBBoong just capitalized on them. He was able to punish his opponent, and there are not a lot of Zerg players who are able to do this, who are reading this correctly. But BBoongBBoong right now is in a very, very nice... He has a nice run as well. He was facing two Terran players. He does not have to start with thinking about his ZVP or a different matchup. He can concentrate on the ZVTs, and then he will face two Protoss players. Yeah. So if BBoongBBoong is playing this as he did against Marine King, it's not going to be easy for Hart to take a 3-0 lead in this group, and we'll find out.
Not, man.
This will be an intense game.
Now, I've mentioned this in the past before. I actually just remembered I haven't mentioned this in a while. And we were talking about IRC earlier. If you guys use Internet Relay Chat, also known as IRC, you want to chat with some people about the GSL. If you're sitting at home right now watching with no friends, you're just kind of hanging out, don't have anyone to watch with, you want to chat with some people about the matches, go to #GSL on QuakeNet IRC, and you can check out a chat there, talk with some people, and I highly recommend that.
We've seen a very interesting thing, by the way. BBoongBBoong has an extractor, but he did not mine. He mined 4 gas, that's all there is. So he was staying very flexible here. He got gas early on. That enables him to do a lot of different things. Get speed early, try to go for roach baneling bust. He got all the scouting information that he needed, but with the early gas, he is in a position where he can get a lot of different strategies. He can gas whenever he wants. It's not delayed if he needs to suddenly get speed, or if he chooses to do some kind of all-in because he gets the scouting information and realizes that his opponent is playing way too greedy. So very, very interesting. I have not seen this before. If this was actually not a mistake, but a conscious decision to be more flexible in the early game, then I really appreciate it. Now he's getting gas.
It's only 25 minerals for an extractor.
Well, you lose the drone,
but it's not something that is going to be incredibly hurtful to you if you do that. So that's something I would like to inquire into a little bit as well. I think it must have been intentional. I think you're right, just to add some flexibility. Look at the worker count now, 50 to 33. Hart is moving out with some Hellions. We do have, however, 4 Queens out, and with the new patch, it's going to be almost impossible for him to actually deny creep right now. We can see that Banshees are on the way for Hart as his follow-up to this. This is basically what almost every Korean Terran is doing right now, going into Reactor Hellions after the second command center, or rather after the double gas, then adding a third command center after the Banshee starts. No cloak for him, getting stim instead.
The Banshees are not all that common, I feel, but they help out a lot if your opponent is going for the Banelings attack. This is why a lot more Terran players try to do this right now. We usually have it without cloak, and this time there's also no cloak that's being researched. He's trying to fake it for a second as he kills an Overlord that was scouting his base, so we had the Caduceus reactor for just a second or two before he cancels it again. He's getting a second Banshee too. I'm not quite sure how this is going to work against a Zerg player who uses 4 Queen early on.
He's even getting the 6th Queen right now. He's actually gone up to, well actually no, I take it back, those, yeah, 6 Queens.
This is completely different from what BoongBoong did on Cloud Kingdom, because in Cloud Kingdom he focused on getting speed a lot earlier. But this build is very safe against Banshee play. This build is safe against Hellions as well.
He's only making Queens and drones, man. He actually... That's all he's making. He hasn't made any Zerglings. He's making Queens, drones, and Overlords.
Yeah, but that's exactly what this
build.
This is what this build is about.
Yeah,
not losing any lava to Zergling, but completely focusing on the Queens. And with the increased range on ground, this is so much more powerful than it was before. And also before, it was a strategy that a lot of Zerg players would choose on a map like this to get an early advantage in tech.
The worker count is now 71 to 48. Lair is now being started. He's starting his Zergling production as well here. Now he has that many drones. I mean, he's not going to drone up anymore. Baneling Nest is going down. Double upgrades here. He doesn't have too much of an answer for these Banshees. He will have to use Queens to defend them. The Hellions are coming at the side at the same time. He's trying to make something work here. The Queens will eventually ward them away, but not before they one-shot several workers here. Workers killed 5 in total. Very difficult to actually use the Banshee against that many Queens. Reactored starports are going to be started here fairly soon.
What's also pretty interesting is that he's getting all his tech right now, and so far, disregarding the quick poke with the 2 Banshees, Hard has been playing really defensive, and he is not really getting all these space. He's now trying to get a third, but BoongBoong, he's finishing his lair tech. I really like what BoongBoong is doing here. This build is so strong at this point, and it's very difficult for Hard to tie this up. So BoongBoong will probably... He will be able to defend, he will be able to get every tech that he needs. He's immediately transitioning into an infestation pit, and Hard has to keep up with the tech of his opponent. He's getting double upgrades as well. But this is going to be tricky. This is going to be really, really tricky. He's so far behind in economy, and BoongBoong, let's see if he can actually capitalize on the advantage that he has.
I like that he's been able to consistently use these Banshees to build harassment. Uh-oh, he needs to lower those depots. That would have been bad.
Not losing too much time here. He realizes his mistake
That's the worst feeling ever, especially if you're a pro, so you accidentally wall yourself in some way, and then suddenly you notice all your probes stacked there.
Yeah.
Like, oh no!
Look at this. Immediately the Hive Tech. The Hive Tech at 11 and 40.
He's basically just using the fact that his opponent has to... He can cut every corner with the Queens he's made. He's just using the Queens so well. There's a potentially fake Overlord drop going across the map. I'm not entirely sure what that is otherwise. There's nothing inside those Overlords. He doesn't have drops. He wants to, I think, keep his opponent in his base a little bit longer.
if that's only for a fake?
It's a pretty big fake.
But he will lose a lot of them. He has to build more Overlords if he really wants to pull this
It's like faker than that MTV show called The Real World. Kind of an ironic title. Alright, here we go. Zergling's running in here, and he's actually
tanks, though.
Yeah, no tanks. He's trying to surround. The micro here from Hart is really good. Will it be enough? It looks like maybe, yeah.
Not really. I mean, he was trading here, but look, we have 15 Zerglings being built right now. He can throw away some units and be not all that cost efficient at this point, as long as he pushes him back. The Overlords try to hide at the top right, apparently. There was a Viking earlier who was killing some of the Overlords. He's even spreading creep. But the Zerglings are controlling the middle of the map right now. The reinforcements for BoongBoong are ready. +2/+2 is halfway done. Hard also not skipping a beat with his upgrades. And we have Adrenal Glands, we have Spire, Hive Tech is done, also Adrenal Glands.
He's going to go for a double drop, and he takes out just very little in the main base, but he's trying to target down this hatchery. He went for a double drop, and he was able to split as soon as he saw the hatch, but BoongBoong with great map awareness, great reaction, loses neither. He loses no drones, basically, and Hart actually can drop into the front lines. Look at how many Queens that is. Oh my god, that is 6 Queens.
If you use these queens later, if you go for Greater Spire and then start with Broodlords, you can transfuse your Broodlords so much. You can save them from anything. And there's the Greater Spire, the Infestors as well. And all that BBoongBBoong has to do is delay his opponent's aggression. And he's doing a really great job at it. He has decent creep spread. He has Overlords everywhere on the map, just scouting with the speed. They have a good read on the map, can scout everywhere. Additional gas now for BBoongBBoong, who so far was able to secure his full base as well. Look at this bank. That's something that Hart doesn't have, even though he's on similar to supply.
Yeah, he's trying to move out and clean up some of this creep a little bit. BBoongBBoong using great bungles here. The upgrades as well for BBoongBBoong at 2-2, tying things up with Hart, who has not started 3-3
Another drop was just shut down by BBoongBBoong at the right side of the map, so he's so drop safe right now. He's so... It's like the guy is bulletproof. Hart is sending over another Medivac bullet after another, and he sends them in, but they don't do any damage at all.
Oh, BBoongBBoong is going for the Greater Spire tech, as mentioned before. It's finishing here. Oh man, this is a great position for BBoongBBoong. His Banelings are not able to really connect. Here come the Infestors. He's trying to actually target down, and I think he went a little bit too far out on that one. This is a great engagement for Hart. He could have done so much more with that, I feel. Now he's going to lose some of his Infestors on retreat.
The thing is that Hart did not, that BBoongBBoong had not really, there was no need to commit at this point. He only has to delay. Why commit if you're not even on creep?
Well, he gets a good fungal here. Nicely done transfusing these queens, and now the rest of these units will be killed. A drop goes towards that 3 o'clock expansion. There's a Spine and an Infestor in play here. Does not control them well.
The drop is on the move. The Spine Crawler starts to delay the actual damage to the economy. The Zerglings running in to take them down. But another push at the 4th. And BBoongBBoong might well lose the 4th base here if BBoongBBoong is not careful about it. Yes, there it is. BBoongBBoong loses the base. Hart takes it down. But the Broodlords, they are now in play. We don't have too many of them. 4 additional ones are being morphed, and with the queens he can support them. A 4th base now building for Hart, who's trying to claim the middle of the map with a command center. With a planetary.
Yeah, this position for Hart, I mean, if he can deal with these Broodlords, is going to be great. He's just shut down so much of his opponent's mining right now. He's continuing to drop. His drops are very ineffective right now, though. It's something that is something, I mean, like winning a major engagement for a Terran in the middle of the map when he's behind against a Zerg. Shutting down several drops, one after another, can actually help a Zerg catch up as well, because every medevac that's lost is something that's expensive to replenish, whereas losing the actual units inside is not too big of a deal.
Another medevac dies, and one thing that helps Hart is that he is about to have 3-3.
Yeah.
This is definitely an advantage that he has.
Huge advantage. His opponent has not even started those upgrades just yet.
And he does the right kind of preparation. He's getting now not only Vikings, but a 2nd starport and Thors.
That's a 3rd starport, man.
That's his 3rd already.
He's
you
adding
are right.
even 2 more. Wow.
He's going for a 3rd and a 4th. You're perfectly right, Wolf. And this will help him so much.
He is getting, he's going to have so much starport production. The Broodlords are in such a great position, it makes it impossible for Hart to hold the center. He will not be able to hold it for much longer. He does not have any Vikings in this composition yet. A few of them are popping up, but they're not here. They're not ready.
And what does BBoongBBoong need? More Corruptors, and he's building them. He's getting additional Corruptors. He has 4 Infestors. I feel like he needs a few more, and also a lot of Corruptors now. This earlier engagement, this was the huge problem that BBoongBBoong has, so now he's really tough for him to get a 4th base. Hart sends another few units over there, takes down the hatch. Here comes BBoongBBoong, but it was really a big problem for him that he committed to this mid-game push where Hart just had the better position. He was fighting off creep, and from this point on, Hart had the initiative in the game, took down the 4th base, and now BBoongBBoong has to make this army count. He has to push on.
Yeah, you're right. And he does now have a decent Viking count. I think he can push his way through here, depending on how he controls this. Yeah, there are a lot of Corruptors out, but there are enough Marines, I think, to stave them off. The Fungals are going to be so key here. I love that BBoongBBoong has shown this both in his games against his game against Marine King and this game, that he loves to bring his Queens with his army for transfuses. He's done more transfuses in this game than I think I've seen any Zerg ever do. All 5 of his Queens are with this army right now.
I really like how intense this is. We have the Vikings trying to kite these Broodlords, always going in for a quick snipe, but with the Corruptors in position, trying to defend them. This is going to be tough on him. The siege tanks on the low ground try to prevent the Infestors from using their fungal against the Viking Flower. And I really love this. The transfuses you just mentioned, there they are once again. This is brilliant, but
he can't mine from his base. He doesn't have any additional bases.
4,000 minerals.
Look at Hart. He does not have one. He cannot mine from this base.
And once again,
He
the
needs
Broodlords
another
edging
expansion.
forward, and another tank dies.
He needs another expansion. Hart cannot sit on this barely mining base forever. The worker count 78 to 56
With
here.
the dead siege tank, he suddenly has no tank in position to take down the infestors. He can't move in with the Vikings. He cannot move in with the Vikings. The siege tank, the Broodlords will be able to target, fire the planetary without the Vikings being able to do anything. There are the funnels. He's getting in for the funnels on the low ground, and suddenly he's committing, running in with the Zerglings, the Balings, the Queens go for the transfuse, but the Vikings, there are too many Vikings right now. No funnels on the Vikings, and maybe, no, with all these Queens, they are not able to take the Broodlords apart. This is kinda crazy, and look how hard drops in supply.
Yep, he takes out the planetary as well here. Puts him up 70 supply right now. 1924 Corruptors in production, 3-3 on the way.
When he started to attack, I was really critical about this decision to use the fungals with the infestors on the ground army and not at least one on the Vikings. But with all the queens that he had, he was able to negate the damage the Vikings dealt to the Broodlords and at the same time target them down.
He could transfuse all the broods and, like you said, do extra damage with those queens. Now there are so many Corruptors out, 24. That will allow him to basically, well, he made 3 more of them into broods, so he's got 21, but that's going to allow him to control every air battle that he wants to. This is almost an unwinnable position for Hart. He is going to try to do a drop over here. He's got +3. He will try to target the hatchery down. He cannot afford to beat around the bush here. It looks like he will get it. Yep, gets it and lifts up. Corruptors may find that medevac, though, with how many he has out.
Minerals are going to be a problem for Hart. He has the gas, that he doesn't have the minerals. And of course, BoongBoong needs additional bases. He's trying to set him up right now.
Hart has needed additional bases for so long. Oh, yeah, that's what I was talking about. That medevac's not going anywhere.
The medevac is dead, and now 3 additional bases for BoongBoong. Actually has the one in the middle already. And he's getting one to the bottom left and to the bottom mid. A beautiful fungal here as BoongBoong is eager to seal the deal, going in with the medivacs, with the Viking Corruptors as well, and taking the Vikings apart. The air army is nearly gone as the Broodlords go to town and force the ground units back. Every single Viking is gone. Hart is down to 95 supply, whereas BoongBoong is at 185, still in possession of 1,000 minerals. Gas as
There's
well.
no more money out for Hart. GG.
This is it. BoongBoong. He defeats Hart, and is now suddenly he's tied with him.
Yeah, he ties with him 2-1, tying himself. And what a game what we saw there. BoongBoong taking an early. He basically put himself a little behind early on with that early attack that failed. But afterwards, he just had the better composition. He was able to control the center so well. There was no way for Hart to move up. There were too many infestors. He had the queens for transfuses. Great positioning and control, decision-making throughout the game. Hart needed another base. BoongBoong had an overlord, though, at every single base spreading creep. It was going to be extremely hard for him to do so.
I want to give a quick shout-out, by the way, because, well, we mentioned that for us, we try to do the math here, but there's some scenarios that are so unlikely that we can't just focus on them. I want to give a quick shout out to the BB, who is one of the users of TeamLiquid.net. He came actually up with a solution that MMA could he's not out.
Oh, really?
MMA is not out. There is a highly unlikely scenario, but there is a scenario where we have a 5-way tie for second place.
All right, I want you to explain this to me. I want you to explain this to me. I mean, I get like how it could work, but I want you to tell me who has to beat who so I know.
You really want to know?
I really want to know, man.
Okay. Well, BoongBoong has to beat Hart. That just happened. Killer has to beat Ace. Marine King has to beat Hart. Ace has to win against BoongBoong. MMA has to win against Killer.
Okay.
You still with me?
That could happen.
Marine King has to beat Ace, MMA has to beat Hart, and Killer has to beat BoongBoong. So Killer has to win 2 games at least, and we would have a 5-way tie for second place. It is highly unlikely, but it could happen.
It could happen.
MMA fans out there, fingers crossed. So far, It is still highly likely that MMA is out of Code S and in Code A, but there is still a slim chance. But now we have a Protoss versus Protoss.
Yep, here is our first and last PvP of the night. Of course, we could have tiebreakers, but very unlikely here. Now, I wonder what sort of strategies we're going to see. The map is going to be Daybreak. Ace, you know, so far today looking a lot stronger than I'd expect from him.
He's on 1-1 and Killer has 2 losses, so he has to win now.
He has to win or he's going to be in a really, really tough spot. We'll find out if he can take out Ace here at the GSL up and down matches with Caldor and Wolf.